class, everybody. I am your very energetic, coked up Professor Ethan.
And I'm your
And when I say coked up, I mean Coca-Cola, of course.
I am your super mellowed out Professor Ricky because of all of the quarantining I've been doing. I've been super chill. I have not moved from my bed. As you can tell from last week, I haven't even changed clothes. I haven't done anything.
So I don't know why he's acting like this. We are actually exactly 5 to 10 minutes after the previous episodes we recorded.
We're all about transparency here because we are going to bust out some eps this week. Hard eps. Look who's energetic now. Baby.
All of a sudden,
baby. But I hope y'all have had a good quarantine week for those who have had to stay home. And for those that have not, thank you for keeping the gears of society turning. Sincerely, thank you, because...
Yeah, no problem, guys.
if there's still a future this next week, maybe we're screaming into the apocalyptic hellscape that is...
the void.
The void, you know?
The thing about the void is when you look into it, it looks back.
And what you see is not pretty.
It doesn't exist.
But,
it's a void.
It doesn't exist. It's a void.
So what we are doing today...
Yep.
Because we're talking about State of My Hero Academia.
Where we are in 2020. Now, me and Ethan had made top 5 anime lists of 2019, which you could totally go check out if you have not yet. But I think My Hero made... Did it even make your, honorable mentions?
Of course not.
Okay, it made mine, but I think it didn't, because there's not enough season to merit a spot at all.
It made Ricky's because he's a little baby boy and he's too afraid of pissing off My Hero, Big My Hero.
I literally said in that show,
Big My Hero.
People boo me in that video for my hot take, which was, it has, in my opinion, it has lost general quality as it's gone on. But we're going to talk about why. And
Big
what do
My
we think.
Hero is coming for you.
Yeah, sorry, but I mean, we'll talk about why. So in the last little bit of 2019 into 2020 as it stands now, in the first nearly quarter of the year, My Hero Academia Season 4 has been occurring and is nearing what feels like a natural end, but we also got a movie in the middle of all that. So we're going to talk about, where does it land? How'd Season 4 go? Was the movie worth the bullshit break? And where is My Hero going from here? So... Ethan, how did the season start out? How many episodes did we get before we had the incident?
Didn't we get only 3?
Only 3, baby. And were they 3 good episodes? Quality match episodes?
So first episode was essentially a recap.
All. In every second was a recap. Which...
to do a recap in that way, I thought was actually kind of cool.
It was cool, and I think for a franchise as big as My Hero Academia, that is almost a necessity because of all the new fans you draw in with every iteration of a new season. You need a refresher. If someone wants to jump in at Season 4, you don't have an idea of Class 1A. I'm cool with it. We're in.
Right, so basically this guy comes in, he's got all these, this camera ability where he can have cameras show up all over his body, and he basically tries to figure out who is the guy that... All Might was talking to at the end where he says, "You're next," essentially.
He's trying to,
and so that's just really all that episode was about. But it did show you all we saw in the last couple of seasons to try to basically narrow it down as to who he was talking about. So, I mean, okay, if you had to do it, not bad.
Right. Detective work based on past events while both having a pretty decent narrative for a single episode condensation, but also he had to go through all the past events, and then everyone who's just coming in is now like, oh, that happened, this happened, that's cool. So, creative. But after this episode, it was just 2 of bullshit, right?
Yeah, it was 2 of complete nothingness.
I can't even remember what they were about.
I genuinely don't know. I think it might have been him trying to get into Night Agency.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be worth a look up, but these 2 episodes, I think that actually came after. That might have came after. They came after the hiatus, but in any case, we all got 3 episodes. The world was on the edge of their seats for season 4 of My Hero Academia, which, in my opinion, and actually to my dismay a little bit, kind of hyped it up a lot because I had read the manga up to this point, and I'll tell you why in a second.
So episode 2 of this season was Overharu. Sorry, Obaharu in Japanese.
Okay.
And it's basically, remember he kills one in Tamara's group and he's trying to get them to align?
Yeah.
That was an entire episode. Was like that.
Oh, just their meet,
right,
their initial meet.
Tete-a-tete, if you will.
And the thing was, yeah, I will. And Overhaul, in my opinion, he was set up in the manga and in a couple of ways for me to be the coolest villain. I was upset a little bit, but we'll get into why. But I just cannot contain my frustration with him. So what was episode 3 about?
Episode 3 is called Boy Meets, or Boy Mitsu.
Boy Mitsu.
I love that they put the little Japanese like Romani right underneath.
Okay.
But it was like Izuku battles Sir Night-Eye to get his stamp of approval to like basically go to his agency for his like internship type thing.
Yes.
And he gets his absolutely ass wrecked by Night-Eye's foresight.
I do like the fact that at the end of that episode, his scheme, because he was told by Mirio to make him smile. So he thought at the end of that episode to do an expression of All Might. And this pissed off Force.
Are you making fun of All Might?
Oh, it was so bad. And then I was like, oh my God, did he just piss him off? And then no new episode that week. The next week, I was up in arms. Everyone was like, what the hell? And it turns out we're thinking the working theory is they needed time to work on this season because they had so many resources working on My Hero Academia Heroes Rising. Now. That's
not even a theory. That was like, I read it straight off.
Oh, you actually read it?
Website.
Okay, cool. I thought it was a theory you came up with and big brained it all, but you.
No, I literally read it somewhere. Anyway.
Okay.
So basically, after 3 episodes, and like you gotta put yourself in our perspective where we're watching every episode as the week is coming out. We're all effing hyped for season 4. We're like, okay, season 3 was nuts.
Yes.
Like banana land nuts.
Buku bonkers.
And then, we start off a recap episode. Okay, whatever. Like, we get it. You got to do what you got to do. Episode 2, talking.
All talking, but at least the villains are now growing.
Yeah.
I can understand what they were setting up there, and it had an ominous tone, if nothing else. Cool.
Episode 3. Talking plus jumping around a room.
Yes.
And doing nothing inventive to try to get the stamp.
Not really, no.
Not even attacking him.
Except the part where he dodged all of All Might's stuff, merch.
Stupid.
But the same thing, he said the same thing with the Jet guy, right? When he learned how to use full counting 5%, he dodged all of that stuff as well. So this is literally
just like
rinse and repeat.
Yeah, so just like really weak story and stuff like that. And then to take like a week break.
Yeah.
For me, I was like almost ready to just say, F it, I'm donezo.
Like, I was pretty pissed.
I was pissed off.
And we talked to some other people, in the past about it. Anime Compost, it kind of, as we started talking to them initially around that time, they kind of resonated with us on this fact that the fuck is a hiatus doing 3 episodes into what feels like a mediocre season for My Hero.
Short season too. It's not even long. Because there's only like 24 or 12 episodes or something like that.
24.
24
we're in the second half of
we're at 22.
Right.
So here's the thing. Mm-hmm. I think for them and a couple other people we talked to, they watched 3 at once and then basically didn't start watching until after the hiatus was over.
Which probably would have been much more clever.
Right. Not clever. It's just like,
how
can we know they were going to put hiatus?
I know, but it kind of, it almost makes me in the future kind of, because I take a very active approach. Like I want to watch it the day it comes out, the hour it comes out, but maybe I do kind of back up and give it some breathing room, So I get like 6 episodes in a row.
Yeah, I think that's all fun and games unless you have a podcast where
Who the hell has one of those?
Get paid millions of dollars to talk about shows as they come out.
Oh, no, you're talking about us. The millions of dollars given away. Cool.
State of the art lab.
State of the art. So,
little ghost buddies. High five.
Yes.
Not you.
And I was giving it to Weeby.
We have Corona.
Weeby has it now too. So I think it's worth talking about the movie. It caused a hiatus after all. So this movie, how did you feel overall, Ethan? We gave a little tidbit of hint on the Instagram about our thoughts, but where did you land overall?
Overall, I really liked it. I think it is obvious why they had to take resources away.
Yes.
My only question is, how do you not plan for that after season 3? Like, I just don't get how they got collapsed. Like, how could your schedule get collapsed in such a way that you have to be working on the movie and the concurrent show at this? Like, I just don't get it.
I guess, and from this point forward, we will be giving spoilers for season 4 and for the movie. Maybe not the movie the best we can. We highly recommend you go see it.
Fuck it, we're doing it for the movie too.
We're doing it for the movie. We're juicing the whole damn lemon. So the movie for me, I think me and Ethan had almost opposite opinion of it, because I felt the first maybe half, maybe a little bit after the half, felt kind of meh. Like, it felt a little lackluster, and then once they hit the end, I was like, boom, okay, maybe I was going in for action. Maybe I was just a little too hype and knew I was going to get some good action, so I was waiting for it. Not to say the first half wasn't goodish, but I don't know.
I'd say the first 3 quarters was very good, and then after that, I didn't really... Like, I liked it. It was visually appealing and all that stuff. It's just... So, like, with these standalone stories, when you can basically make anyone do whatever the hell you want, and then you get that, like, at the end, you get to basically just write it all off.
Okay.
As being, like, a one-off, non-canon story.
Okay.
I feel like there's a little bit of, I don't know, I feel like it's a little cheap. It cheapens the IP that you're working with because, for instance, if you did, like, a long series of Superman, and then in one episode you just say... Oh, by the way, he's faster than the Flash, and now he can teleport through walls. And, like, you just give him all these bonkers powers, and then right after, you're like, just kidding, he's good now.
So, in your opinion, works of an IP, once made, needs to be canon. There is no such thing as non-canon if you can set your eyes on it on a screen.
I think it should be that way. It definitely isn't that way.
I like the idea of, because sometimes you just want to see this isolated bubble, like a what-if situation, and that's really cool to see. And I think what movies allow a lot of anime IPs to do is to play around with their stories a bit, with their character interactions, and take them in a different direction forward. A good example for me would be Dragon Ball Super Broly, where Toriyama decided, like, hey, let's reintroduce Broly in this movie setting. If it eats shit, Broly can just stay there. It can just stay right there. But if it really lands and he likes the writing and everything, he can then later say, this is canon, which he did. He said that is canon. And Broly, at some point, I imagine, is coming back in Dragon Ball. When it comes to something like My Hero, I can, it's meant to be a bubble. And once it's popped, it's gone. And it's the way that can be kind of negative is what you mentioned right after the theater we walked out, is how tight a bow and how quickly it's tied up just to make it as if it never happened, right? So the continuity bubble is closed. I
just like my story to... I don't know. I don't feel like there's any reason they couldn't have made the same exact movie without, like, the ending being like it was.
Interesting.
Like, I just don't think that they tell me they couldn't think of any way to get out of that last situation to where they didn't have to, like, transfer powers and shit like this. Like, I don't know. I just feel like they wrote themselves into a fucking corner and it was unnecessary. They could have, like, think about it.
I see it from the completely opposite view. I almost feel that it felt like they were trying to set up for answering one big what if, right? like they were just trying to provide a what if scenario for what we're going to basically talk about now, so we can kind of give you like a 10,000-foot view of the story. So Class 1A, they're on an island, right? A couple island little pods off the coast of wherever the fuck they are, Japan.
Off the coast of Costa Rica.
Off the coast of Costa Rica.
If you're a big Jurassic Park fan, as you can tell, that's from the movie. I urge you to reconsider if you did not enjoy that.
I'll take a pity laugh just to save face. No, so they're doing work off the island, and they're doing hero work.
That was Sir Richard Attenborough.
Sir Richard Attenborough. They're doing work. Why again? Because
okay, so this island, not a lot of crimes going on there, but it did have a professional hero at one point, and he actually retires.
That's it.
I think he got hurt or something stupid, or got too old maybe. And so for a while, this town hasn't had any heroes at all. And what they did is they said, okay, hero class 1A, you all have your provisional licenses, which is a little
jumping the gun
for Bakugo and for Todoroki and for I guess that's all.
Diaper Boy? No, Diaper Boy gets his.
Yeah, everyone got it except for
everyone
those two.
Just for those two. Yeah.
But it kind of like, I don't know. Sorry, you just really fucked me up by calling him Diaper Boy.
What do you mean? It's Diaper Boy.
Mineta?
Sure. It's Diaper Boy.
I was trying to figure out who he was for so long. I'm like, Diaper Boy.
Ballhead. Was that a better one?
Yeah, that's
Ballhead.
Sticky Balls.
There he goes.
Anyway, so they all have their provisional licenses, so they are basically tasked with being the hero agency for this basically small island.
Yeah.
For the time being, until they can kind of put a actual pro in place. And so it's pretty cool. Like, for me, what I liked about the first half, yes, a little boring, but like, to me, that's what the heroes really do on a day-to-day basis. They do all those like menial task-ish. Like, I don't think it's normally going to be like, oh, you're fighting supervillains 100% of the time.
Right.
And that's like one
of
my critiques of My Hero as a whole is...
They don't show enough of that.
Oh, no, it's just like Deku's a fucking magnet. Like, all the bad people come like a freaking cruise missile towards them.
That is true.
And like, yes, he gets in the way sometimes. And so, like most recently with Gentle, like, he literally went out of his way to get involved, right? But with like stuff
when it
like
all kind of
this,
clicked, it
just kind of seems like shit is just like heat-seeking, magnetic right to him, right?
I think it's half and half, because he, as the kind of person he is, he's naturally sensitive to snuffing out and detecting the evil. That's just he really is, because that's what happened with Gentle. It all just kind of clicked. He could have just been like,
no, I get it. I totally.
But
get
you're
that.
also very much right, because I can't tell if it is plot magnet or just. But you're right. He's a natural attractant for evildoers to find their way to him. So
I think it's got to be plot magnet. But like, okay, so the beginning
plot magnet.
You see, it is the villains, League of Villains are like basically escaping with this truck, and they're killing all these heroes and shit. And it's just, it's like a pretty cool scene. It's like CG nice. Actually. And
the trucks, good CG cars are fun. Yeah.
So it was like Initial D, if you've ever seen that.
Deja Vu
is legit what it looked like. And they basically are escaping, and they get stopped. I think Rocklock and somebody else actually stops them.
Yeah, but
Endeavor. He's standing in the middle, and they go, "Oh shit!" Endeavor.
He blasts that shit against Dobby.
Blasts them against Dobby, his son.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
I think it's his kid. That's a theory.
It's a theory?
Yeah, it's not like guaranteed.
Okay, I thought it was more than 13. I thought it was guaranteed because it's so obvious, right?
I think it's a theory,
right? That's where I'm at. It's like it's got to be him, right?
They honestly look identical. Anyway, but we find out. So he like melts them. It turns out they're all twice mud dolls. And so something escapes from the back though, and goes and hides in the woods. And you find out that it's this guy Nines.
He's been given he's a kind of a dude who's been given the capabilities of using 9 quirks within his body without not without a little bit of augmentation and modification, right?
But it's basically the effort apparently has been after All for One has kind of been taken away and now he's in prison. They're trying to get other people to be able to use his quirk.
Right.
So they're like implanting it in other people. And Nines has been the most successful test so far, and he's able to control 9, like Ricky said.
Yeah.
But he's looking for one specific quirk. Basically, he's got this cellular degeneration issue he's got going on.
His quirk is literally eating him like the coronavirus is eating our brains.
Right.
Straight up.
And so what he's trying to do is find someone that has, I think they call it a cellular acceleration or something like
Activation.
that.
Cellular activation. Yeah.
Basically, they're just like super healing.
Yeah, it's like stem cell essentially, right? Yeah.
So, and the story essentially just leads them, Nines and his crew, down to the island where our favorite pro tags.
See, I actually like that a lot. I will say that was one of the things about the first half I really did enjoy. It felt natural. That one didn't necessarily it didn't feel so plot magnet for Deku necessarily.
He just happens to be on the island.
Well, listen, basically because he does find what he's looking for. Listen, he finds what he's looking for. He finds a guy on the mainland with cell activation. So he never it's a stroke of weirdness that it's like, shit, it's only type A blood, but his son's got type B. Might as well get our asses out there. And it's not necessarily he's going there to find Deku. And it's not because just Deku is itself on the island. The whole class is there. They're not totally... I think, and it wouldn't have been that bad if they weren't separated from all the pro heroes, right? If there was like mainland, they'd been like, oh, we're there. Fuck you. Easy, done. I think it felt natural that it occurred there. Like, it could have occurred anywhere, and it already did. He already found cell activation. But shit, wrong blood type. Let's go get his son. That 2 stage made it feel a little more natural.
I think what worried me is like, so he steals cell activation for type B blood or whatever from the dad.
Yeah.
He uses his crazy ass quirk that basically like calls down heaven's wrath upon the earth.
Was that his original quirk?
I think so.
I think so too. He used that one a little too powerfully, but he literally could just watch a bitch call lightning essentially.
Bad.
That's what it was. That's what it's just boop, boop.
My thing is, how did no hero just like instantly go to him?
That was right. How did no one find like, where is the epicenter of this lightning?
Interesting. There's 5 people standing there laughing about this lightning storm.
Where could this possibly be coming from? Somebody check the skies.
Right? Like, I don't know. And then they had this hero, Hawks, who was like a flyboy.
Yeah.
And he seemed to be like kind of a detective, like more of a detective than
anything else really.
I would say more like Night Eye in that regard, where he was doing like detective work behind the scenes, and it wasn't exactly just like
reconnaissance information gathering.
Well, he wasn't just rushing into danger like All Might always.
He really can. He's a hawk.
Sorry, flying into danger.
No, that's not what it meant. It's just not exactly.
Oh no, a really clean glass door. Dunk.
Oh, my arch nemesis, the 35th floor of a glass building. Kunk.
Oh my god, that Windex.
That Windex, so shiny. But yeah, so he's doing all the reconnaissance and the investigative aspect of
Well, it
this.
just kind of seemed like he was like kind of attached, or the attaché to.
You're really on this attaché shit, man. I like it.
To like the police.
Yeah.
So he was kind of mentioning a couple things that were going on, and he was kind of put in charge of figuring out this whole quirk stealing thing.
And frankly, he actually gets it done pretty quick, all things considered, because didn't they give like a 6-hour window from when he understood like, something's up to I figured it out? He literally was a 6-hour window.
To be honest, figured it out. The guy literally said, yeah, my quirk was cellular activation, and my son has it too.
Like, this one's a thinker, you guys.
What a stinker. So then the question, I guess, becomes, they go down to the freaking island.
And then it's fucking Battle Central City, baby.
Yeah, there's like some like little stuff with the guy's kids. They're like messing with Deku and Bakugo. She wants to show her little brother that like, heroes aren't as good as they say.
Heroes are shite.
They're not going to come
shams.
try to save us. Just because she wants to like keep her brother from doing something dangerous, essentially.
They're shite, shams, and charlatans, all of them. How dare they?
And harlots, even.
Harlots, even. Those strumpets. But yeah, so they almost have a touching moment. I think they kind of do. and then all of a sudden, shit hits the fan 0 to 100 super quick, right?
Real quick.
Real quick, like literally, boom, we're on the island now, baby. Let's run down some of these villains, because I have one favorite villain, and it's not the main guy at all.
So they're all unbelievably strong.
Yes. Who do we have? I'm thinking there was the other three. I'm forgetting. Someone had like the hairpin missile chick.
She was strong. Mummy guy was really effing weak.
Yeah, Mummy guy was not great. Basically,
Honestly,
anything
got clapped
anything that
instantly.
his claws can touch, he can turn into his dolls and mind control them. Essentially, it was kind of dumb, frankly. Like Bakugo literally snapped out of like the epicenter of his quirk, really quick. And Hair Lady was actually super tough.
Yeah, she was cool.
But oh my god, there is a villain called Chimera. Who is an absolute savage freak beast. And I say it a lot, but he slaps freaks and claps cheeks all fucking day. And what was his power, Ethan?
Kind of think that was everything.
He had everything because basically his body was just like an amalgamation of any kind of mythical creature he wanted. Dragons, like with fire breathing and flying, and like a minotaur for like defense. Anything he can find in a myth book, he could become. What the fuck?
Yeah, it was kind of bullshit, to be honest.
It was kind of bullshit.
Like, he fought basically half the class and was waxing them easy.
Yeah.
That was one of my concerns, is like, yeah, he's really, really, really strong and stuff, but everything we've seen from Todoroki so far, like, makes him out to be like he could be a pro hero already.
Yeah,
don't you think?
Like,
that's what they're kind of like trying to make you feel.
Right. His only limitation is his ability to fine tune and restrain his powers. But if he has the room, like he did in this movie, to go literally all out, he can make a fucking ice mountain, like a glacier. Like, why didn't he just freeze him with like 10 feet of ice in all directions?
Or I don't know, torch him.
Yeah, torching, because I feel like he had some block for ice. I mean, for fire, right? He had some kind of defense for fire. He was blocking maybe his own fire breath, because he had his own fire breath. Let's not forget about that.
Okay, I get it. I'm just saying, like, at least
but you're
for
right.
me, up till the beginning of season 4,
yes,
I feel like they've been playing off Todoroki as if he's just like unbelievably powerful.
Yes, he's a powerhouse.
So my question is, why make him seem like a little baby boy in this movie?
There are, and I guess this is actually for me more of a problem than maybe your story with no impact thing with when it comes to movies. They don't power ceiling, they power normalize sometimes. They kind of bring up and down power levels to make an interesting
that's
narrative.
A good point, man.
Thanks, man.
That might be the best point you've ever made.
I would maybe second best.
That'd
I think
be the only
best
point you've ever made.
No, you in the last episode,
I know,
2 episodes ago, told me.
I was hoping you forgot.
I never will. It's such a great honor to have Ethan, the greatest ever, tell me I made a point.
The God King.
The God King.
Lowercase g.
But yeah, what you saw was they brought here on the reel. They brought Todoroki down and Sero up.
Yeah, he was disgusting. Sero was unbelievable.
So here's why I liked the second half of this movie a lot, is because the interactions between different duos in Class 1A were so damn creative.
Yeah, it was dope.
Ethan, can you break down for the students Sero and Uravity? I forgot her actual name. Yeah, Richaka. So their pairing was unbelievably imaginative. What went down?
So basically, what have they done?
What is it going on right now?
I'm from Birmingham. All of a sudden. So what they've done is Sero's got, sticky tape. He shoots out of his elbows, right?
I don't even know if apologizing would help.
And so what he does is they stick one end to a rock, like a really big fucking rock though. Like, I'd call it a boulder if I had like my choice. And then what they've done is they have the other side attached to his arm, and so he can swing it because of gravity's made it basically
like sandpaper.
Basically weightless, right? And so he swings these super heavy rocks, and then she goes gravity and makes them heavy again.
I blame myself for letting this continue.
Yeah,
it's on me, frankly.
Yeah,
it's on me.
On you.
So in short, she would make.
Are you gonna retell them?
I could do it a lot quicker. She makes basically a meteor storm a bunch of these crazy big boulders, and Sero basically whips the shit at high speeds into the enemy. See how easy that was?
Look, man, if I'm bending, I don't have a choice.
I know you are, Ethan. But no, so there were a couple other really good pairings. And I just like the battles were well animated, and what they did was Sero got a lot stronger to actually combat because of their syncing up. Who was the Froakie? Not Froakie. That's a Pokemon. That's a Pokemon. Froppy. That's her name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Froppy. And who was she paired up with again? She was with...
She's with the other 4.
Oh, she was with the other 4.
Ida. She was with Todoroki-kun.
Who was,
Spit it the fuck out.
Will you help me with the names a little bit?
I don't know what you're talking about right now.
Birdman and Birdman Dan. One who has the dark shadow inside of him.
Okay, Tokeyami.
And who is he with?
He was with the chick.
More specific.
I'm getting there.
In the words of Ethan the God King, spit it out, man. Was it the Momo or
I don't
the
think he
one
was with Momo. This is nuts.
This is bad because we've been quarantined, we've been binging, we've been putting things in our brains. But basically they fell into a cave.
Look, I can't breathe. It's not my fault.
You keep saying that. Please stop breathing in my direction. So they fall into a cave, and I think it was actually thought like they actually purposefully wanted to fall into a cave because that's where Birdie Darkshadow gets really, really, really powerful.
Yeah,
is in the dark. And it was quite interesting matchups. I think more interesting with
Birdie
Darkshadow.
What a dumbass.
Yeah, BDS. Oh, what's his name? What's his name now?
I think it's Tokeyami.
Okay. So Tokeyami basically gets beefed up in the dark and mollywops this hair chick.
Wasn't it Pinky Ashido?
Yes, it was. Totally. So that was super cool. I think the side character and the side villain fights for me had a lot more creativity involved.
His hero name is Tsukiyome.
Tsukiyome? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't it mean like moon or darkness or something?
Something with darkness. It has to be something like that. But you can tell that the studio basically plunged all of their cash into the Bakugo Deku versus 9 fight.
1,000,000%.
And it was beautiful to look at.
Well worth it.
But final spoiler warning about how they get out of this jam, because they get basically not 100% cucked. They put up a good fight.
Spoiler warning!
Oh, you're gonna have to commit to really lowering that spot.
I don't think I will.
Spoiler warning. In the middle of the apex climax, whatever you want to call it.
Guys, I feel really bad about that one.
It's okay. It's okay. They're just bleeding from the ears. Maybe they won't hear this. Is that Deku actually transfers one for all to Bakugo. And holy shit. For me, I made peace logically with the isolation aspect of the movie. I knew that it wasn't going to stay, but they also kind of pushed it all the way to the very end, like up to the last second, which I will give thoughts on. But holy shit, seeing Bakugo's explosive with the stockpile power of One for All, it was like the size of like a mountain, like legit. It was pretty rad. What are your thoughts on Bakugo getting a little One for All action?
So like it was obviously BS, right? I think.
What do you mean? What do you mean by BS? Like, yeah, it wasn't ever going to stay, but it was cool to see. Like, it's a what if moment. Like, what if he actually did gain the power of One for All, right?
But his quirk isn't really like set up to be useful with One for All.
I
other than
wholeheartedly
speed.
disagree.
What the fuck are you talking about?
It's literally power with a stockpiling of power.
Here's
Instead
my
of a punch, it's an
Why
explosion.
would his arms not just instantly evaporate? He can't just go fucking 100% or 20%.
I think he did. I think they just let him do it. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
There's a lot of questions
you can't BS this shit, my guy.
That's the thing. With movies, you have the liberty to totally BS that shit. In my opinion, if he pulled that shit in the show, there's some continuity you have to own up about. But in a movie, you can just, you know what, fuck it, let it ride. Sure, why not? Because Deku didn't have broken arms at the end of that.
Yes, he did. They both did.
So then there you go. They both had broken arms.
What I'm saying is he can't instantly unlock 100%. And like they made it very clear that when they go 100%, they like insta die. Like their body rips apart.
But didn't Deku go 100% the first time he uses it? That's what they talk about in this season, is that the first thing he learns how to do is turn it all the way on or all the way off. That's the first thing Deku does.
He did 100% with one finger, right?
No, his first punch against the in the entrance exam to save the chick, he broke both his legs and his arm just doing that. So he did 100%, but he didn't die. He probably would have if he hit the ground, but I'm not arguing against gravity. But
what I'm saying is,
yeah,
there was like
there's no reason why his arm should be blown off. I think everything.
There
makes
was
sense.
multiple clashes where they were punching this dude. The guy shouldn't have had the ability to do that. I'm just gonna stand on the fact that
you're gonna die on this hill.
What
right here.
I like some form of consistency, an organized fucking way of doing this. If they don't want that, okay. Why don't we just make a little, like, after the season's over, say, this is a weird thing we want to try.
One thing, as total as a counterpoint, hate to bring it up. No, I don't hate to bring it up again. It's a great movie. Dragon Ball Broly. Goku had that sweet new technique in Super Saiyan God 1 where he literally held Broly in place with his own ki. That has never been anywhere else, but it is now canon. As dictated by the great Toriyama himself. Do you feel like that was not okay to just pull out of his ass? Like
that was not okay.
There's no context for that.
Yeah, I agree.
You're gonna deny the great man himself, his own IP. He can mold it whatever way he wants
Akira
to.
Fukuyama. That's what I'm calling it from now on.
You literally have so much of his merch on the wall right now.
Look, it's not my fault he's lost his way.
Ethan, I don't even know what to say to you anymore.
Look,
except that, you know what? I guess I have to respect you for sticking your guns, I guess. I have to.
I'm just saying, you make 70 episodes of something in like countless fucking manga. I just kind of want you to stick to your own words.
Oh man.
We can, like, when we get farther into season 4, I'll say something that I am like pretty ticked about in relation to Midoriya, but
okay. But the one
I just find it ridiculous. Bakugo instantly has like full control over this thing.
I don't think it's control. I think it's just full output all the time. Just that's all he can do. He can't tweak it or anything. He's just like, I'm at 100%. That's it. That's all he's got.
I don't know. I just thought it was BS.
Fair enough.
It was gorgeous.
Like, it was very maybe
very
I was
cool.
enamored by the gorgeousness.
Of course you were.
But yeah, well, I don't give a fuck about continuity. I leave the theater. That is not canon. It just stays.
You're a kitten.
I'm not. It's a kitten for canon.
You like little like yarn balls, and you just go, oh, look at that.
Yeah. Once it's gone behind the couch, my object permanence is just it's gone. It's not canon. It's not canon yarn.
I can't believe that actually made sense.
But no. But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Right? Is that's the point of movies, to answer a what if in a very beautiful way, and then once it's gone, it's fucking gone. Unless said so, like the new Demon Slayer movie that's coming out, maybe Konosuba movie that's coming out. I don't know. Overall, 0 to 100, Bakugo continuity breaks. What would you rank this whole movie overall?
I mean, it was like a solid 80, 85.
I was gonna say like an 82. I mean, it gets most of its points for beautifulness.
It's a solid college B.
Yeah, it's a solid college try, and it did try, and it made some good fucking money. And it was, like I said, if you want a good time, if you're a good My Hero Academia, kind of like a big fan, and you want to see something beautiful, some badass action scenes, some really kind of kind-hearted hero work from Class 1A, you're not going to be disappointed. Just go in with the acknowledgement, this movie stays and dies on screen. There is no continuity, because they even tie the bow up. Like, oh, everything's back to normal. He didn't actually get all for one. Ha ha ha. And that's it. Like, there's no other explanation for that, which I'm actually kind of pissed about, but I like a better explanation.
And like, so I understand why, All Might wouldn't have been like, Midoriya, you dickhead. Because, like, obviously he just got his shit rocked.
Yeah.
But, like...
They just called it a miracle that he didn't give it to Bakugo and called it a day.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he should have said something like, hey, man, you got to take a little bit more care of this power, or we got to train you up ASAP.
And I think that's what he's doing. He's like, whoops, that's on me as a senior.
But it doesn't
teach.
exist, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Continuity loop.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So they let it go to the very end. So the only thing they had to do was a miracle. I think they could have written a better way to give Bakugo. I mean, maybe they didn't make him eat his hair. Maybe they just gave, like, they could have said a line, a throwaway line to make just the giving of blood some kind of temporary aspect.
That's the other thing. Since when is that okay?
it's about intent. You can, kind of DNA to DNA and then intent.
Hair to hair, pube to pube, whatever you want to do.
Ass to mouth, whatever you need, whatever you need to do.
All right, young Midoriya, eat my shit.
Eat my shit, you little punk.
I'm just saying.
Sir, if you want,
like,
you want to be the number one hero?
Out of nowhere.
I didn't know is. They just said it's a miracle. Ha ha ha. Roll credits.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. Hawks did nothing though, if you really think about it.
Call the pro heroes, and everyone's like, "Good job, y'all."
Yeah, good job.
We'll cuff them for you. Dicks.
What I would like, and this kind of bleeds into season 4.
Yeah, let's get into that.
Some more effing notoriety for Midoriya. Like, people know of him and stuff.
Yeah, they know.
He's doing insane shit.
Yeah, and I think that is the thing. They had to keep some of that shit quiet. They couldn't say that, like, Midoriya had any part in the stain thing. They had to keep that quiet, because if that got out, like, hey, we had our UA students, almost seemed like we sent them out there to do this shit, They had a good explanation as to why he doesn't have big notoriety. And it's funny, people in this season said, hey, isn't that Izuku Midoriya, the guy from the sports festival? Where he would have been recognized publicly, he's still recognized publicly. So, you're right. Your boy needs a little more airtime, a little more camera presence. But the time he does get, it is validated.
I like the main character getting, like, notoriety and stuff like that as you go through. Like, for instance,
it's almost public shonen as well as a personal growth. Like, he actually gets his comeuppance.
Well, because that's literally the point of the show, right? Is to become the number one hero.
And part of that is getting that sweet publicity, baby.
Well, if nobody knows who the fuck you are, you're not gonna be the number one hero, right? Even if you're the strongest, whatever.
Bars, homie.
But like, bars. No, just like, for instance, Asta. People know who he is now within the Magic Knights.
Yeah. Do they know him? Like, they love. That's almost a traditional shonen thing, right?
They love him now.
Yeah, a little bit. And
But I'm just saying, like, being acknowledged by other heroes is always very, like, other high-end characters in the verse is super important for shonen pro tags.
Do you think that after the confrontation in season 4 with Overhaul, because of how many heroes were there, that he will get a little bit more of that? I think he will, right? So many other big name heroes
I don't know that he will. I did not see any indication that they were gonna be like, yo, legit, man, I know this shit was wild, but good job, Like,
right.
Maybe Ryukyu might have said it to her little kids and stuff like that, but none of them did anything.
That is
Literally,
true.
Mirio needs to get some mad props.
He needs to get some mad props.
I guess we should explain, like, what's going on.
Here, I'll run this one down real quick. So, Overhaul
I talked for like 30 straight minutes.
I got you, dude. Overhaul, essentially his plan, after he had basically taken over this criminal organization, was it a part of the Yakuza? And it was Yakuza. It was the Yakuza overall. He had taken over this organization, and his whole plan was to...
Well, they're a family in the Yakuza.
Right, yeah.
Yakuza is a council of families.
A council of fam, and he took over his family in the Yakuza.
Yes.
Cool. His entire plan, the 10,000 feet, is to kind of disrupt, as most villains in this world is trying to do, is disrupt the hero-villain dichotomy structure. And how he plans to do it is with a little girl named Eri. Now, Eri has a very rare mutant deviant kind of quirk, and it isn't just kind of healing. It isn't just, reversal. It is truly hyperdrive turbo time reversal. Her kind of power word was discovered when, it was mentioned that she had touched her father, or her father had touched, like, her horn or something, and her father disappeared, literally reverting back to a time where he didn't exist. And Her power is almost reality breaking, if it's basically reality breaking. So Overhaul plans to use her by using his quirk, the ability to break down and rebuild anything organic or inorganic into things, outside of things. He can dismantle and rebuild anything. So he is using Ares' body by dismantling it and trying to convert it and synthesize it into a drug that would erase quirks. Now, this is very fascinating in the way that I found it was very fascinating, because his plan not only gives villains an incredible power to disrupt the system, but he also planned to sell the antidote to the hero's side, so that he's playing both sides, gaining mad cash by disrupting the system and selling the thing that would put it back together. In my opinion, the plan was probably the best thing on the villain side.
The plan is simple.
The plan is simple. It's great. I liked it a lot. And that's the one part that made me really, and kind of the sickening aspect of the logistics of tearing apart a little girl to her limit and then rebuilding her over and over and over and over and over again is what attracted me when I read it in the manga of, Overhaul can be a really sick villain in this world. However, he came out the other side a little lackluster. And I, Ethan, for the life of me, cannot put my finger on why. Why did Overhaul? Because on paper, Overhaul and his plan it should have landed super well. What happened? Why do you think? Did it land for you in a way I was hoping, super impactfully? Or, where do you stand on his whole grand scheme?
I think his scheme was never his own. I think.
Interesting. I always thought it was, though.
Maybe let me finish my sentence and then you'll see what I meant.
Wasn't trying to interrupt. I'm just making conversation.
Never interrupt me.
You interrupt me 4 times last episode.
Hey.
That was weird. What a weird capture.
Hey, guy.
Okay. Hey now, buddy.
So, he basically had to tell Hisaki or whatever his name is, Tomura, his plan at one point, which allowed Tomura to basically say, yes, I'll join you, and here's 2 guys to help you, whatever. Mm-hmm. But the entire plan for Tomura and the League of Villains was to obtain this quirk-depleting dart thing. And so, yes, his plan was to do all this shit, but the real plan by a legit group of badasses is to basically nip him off and take his stuff.
So they're just going to let him run as far ahead as he can with his plan, and at the very final pivotal second, nope, mine, and just snipe that.
Well, yeah, I mean, they don't have Aerie, they don't have a lab, they don't have all that stuff already set up.
That's the real villain shit, right? Let someone else do the hard work and then swoop. Gank it.
Well, I just feel like, as you saw them running through, obviously, the League of Villains is a much stronger group. Even with only 4 of them, they just have crazier quirks.
Right. Yeah, and they do work better. Their quirks work better for an villain organization team. You have
plus fucking Decay is ridiculous.
That is dumb, right? And you'd think Overhaul would have crushed it, right? Just it seems like Decay, but more useful. Because he can kind of, from a distance, do Decay, essentially. He doesn't have to touch anything, right?
He does have to touch them.
He does have to touch them.
Remember, he's wearing
gloves. Yeah. But I thought at some point he kind of just well, he's midair. He just rebuilds some. Maybe it's because it's himself, right? He can rebuild himself with other shit. Yeah. But yeah, so something about, I was really hoping that there would be this grandstand moment, but even when you logically were looking at it on screen, where Overhaul versus Mirio and Deku, it never landed the same way as maybe All for One and One for All did. I don't know if it ever could.
I don't know.
Right?
I disagree. I think it landed hard because
there was one moment when it was Deku versus Overhaul, Deku 100 versus Overhaul, that landed super fucking well.
I don't know. I'd say Mirio getting his shit stolen and still fighting for.
That was pretty.
For Aerie was crazy. Night Eye getting absolutely freaking eviscerated was pretty crazy at the time. I have no investment in Night Eye.
The Night Eye didn't land for me. Mirio landed. That it didn't. I wasn't. I guess we were coming off of a season where we had probably one of the current generation's most iconic anime scenes. Period. Into this, maybe there's an emotional height that was reached that even though this was they had great moments, it never could get up there for me. Mirio probably had more of an emotional impact for me than maybe any Deku or Night Eye or anything like that. Honestly, because I love Mirio. He's best boy.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't even think that's supposed to be like the top of this season.
I mean, in terms of like visual impact, no.
We're effing crying over freaking Ripple Boy, whatever his name is.
Ripple Boy?
Gentle Criminal.
Oh, Gentle Criminal. Yeah, we'll get to him here in a hot second. But there is a moment later where the final big battle in the first half of season 1 where you can tell they put all their animation money was pretty damn awesome, I would say.
Dope.
Where basically Deku's one-for-all powers that kind of eat his body away and destroy his body gets mixed with Aries' power to rewind reality for whoever she touches, and she piggybacks on him, and they make a perfect pair. He can push his body to a continuous 100% as long as she's touching him, and the more she's out of control, the more he can push himself. So he just turns into Saitama One Punch Man God there for a second. And that was pretty fucking rad and animated like so mint, so crisp, so dozer. So, and then we get this second half. Ethan, what are your thoughts on this second half of this season?
Well, like, so I hated, I will say I hated up until the like invasion of the Chisaki compound. I thought it was pretty boring and stupid. Even the beginning of that was pretty bad. I thought it was cool to get to see like Fat Gum and
Red Riot.
Running Riot.
So good.
Get to do his stuff.
I like seeing Red Riot's arc. That for me is cool. Very endearing. Yeah, he just wants to be a wall. Yeah, he just wants to be a tough dude. So what a tough dude.
Be a man. No, it's cool because you got to see like he saw Ishido stand up to this crazy villain at one point.
Yeah.
Just like, and she was like, I'm so scared, but you know, I just kind of did it. And he was like, damn, I got to be more like that. Like I got to be like a man.
Man.
And then let's see.
Sun Eater was pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean, I like his powers, and when he apply his powers, essentially limitless as long as he can stomach it.
Yeah, so like people were losing their shit over that too. They're like, "Oh, Sun Eater's the coolest shit." I'm just like, I thought it was like
him as a concept of a hero. I think is one of the coolest. I think in the show for me,
but like
they aren't utilizing him well.
It just I struggle really bad with like the people that they put up against certain foes.
Yeah.
Like makes them seem weaker.
I think that's part of the.
Yes, he fought 3 by himself, but
right.
Like I don't know when you call like students the big 3 at UA, you start thinking like insane power levels, and then you think like okay, Todoroki could have fucked them all up by himself.
That's a really good point because they didn't even give them the chance to slap much before they started getting smacked around, right? And it made for some impactful moments with Mirio, but the other two didn't. They didn't get their time to shine to show us what made them the big 3 in a real situation before they just got
Spiral
bitch-slapped.
did nothing. Neji, whatever her name is.
The Spiral Wave.
Yeah. Hado. I think her name's
Nechi? I think
Nijire
or something like that.
Hado, but she like did nothing. She fought dudes outside. Who cares?
She really didn't do anything
And then Sun
fun.
Eater gets clapped in his first battle.
Yeah.
And like I get it. He actually got his quirk taken slightly or something
temporarily.
Like that. Temporarily.
Yeah. It was an unfinished version of the drug.
And then, so like that was okay, and like him coming back from that. But like when he fought the 3 people, the guys' quirks were cool, and they used them together really, really well, and all that stuff. That's cool,
right?
But like when you call people big 3 at a school, and then you have people like Bakugo, you know, Midoriya to a lesser degree, and then you know Todoroki, who are just like gods essentially in their first year,
right?
And these are third year big 3. Like, you just expect them to be, like, insanely strong. I think the problem is, and let me know if you agree or disagree.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
The power floor and power ceiling are so compressed in this world. Like, I almost feel like Minetta's not that much weaker than Endeavor. Is that crazy to say?
I think you're right to a degree because the power floor is infinite. We're only seeing the people who even have the capacity to be a hero. So we're actually seeing the top crust of the entire population. Yeah. So if you feel that, it's probably because you're feeling, because it's what it is.
The cream of the crop.
The cream of the crop. And if you think of it as the cream of the crop, brother, and then there's so much actually, there are a lot of
there's
finite.
A lot of chaff underneath.
There's a lot of chaff underneath that wheat. So, but I think you're right, because we're looking at such a small sliver of the population who have the chops to be in this industry, you will find, and that's why I think it's interesting that the world at large have rescue heroes and reconnaissance heroes and investigative heroes, because you have the top % of a type of quirk, essentially. So some of them aren't meant, and some of their power levels are going to be so weirdly consistent because, yeah. And the new generation we saw in the second part of season 4, the kids are starting to have really, really complex quirks, and they explained it super well. I love that explanation. As the gene pool mixes, we're going to get weirder and weirder quirks. Less elemental, less basic. You're going to get more like Momos, right? It's more versatile. So the power ceiling is not necessarily going to grow. It's more like a power tree. It's going to start to branch even further into weirdness. So I like that a lot.
Know. Maybe it's just like I'm feeling a little bit bored with the My Hero world.
Interesting.
I feel like if it's not involved with,
the legend of like One for All, essentially, at this point.
Yeah, like
for me, that's cool.
Maybe everything other than that seems a little boring. Like, I mean, I don't think we could sustain a show where, there's we're watching a agency where they're doing, detective work, and they're not, dealing with any of these crazy, happenstance with these massive organizations. No League of Villains. No, like, I don't know. I think they've built it up to where Midoriya and these students that we care about are basically only fighting the big boys.
Right.
And the big boys are constantly coming after them and all this stuff. And I feel like if we're not constantly in the action, they've painted themselves into a corner where it gets really boring.
And you know what's really funny too? Think of all the times that Class 1A up to this point were getting involved with the big boys. It all came back to All Might, right? Season 1, League of Villains attacked just to get at All Might. They brought Namu because of that exact reason. Season 2, Stain only wanted to be killed by All Might and real heroes, which all came back to All Might. And Season 3, you had basically in the first half, you had All for One and the League of Villains coming after and setting a stage to get All Might out in the open. Now we don't have him. And I think what you're saying is, like, we're about to see this lull where we're having people either plot magnet to Deku, like Gentle Criminal, or it doesn't happen and we see more of the menial hero work. A huge tonal shift for the show. What happens now?
Yeah, I mean, like, it is supposed to be like that, right? Like,
right.
When All Might vanishes, it's supposed to be seen as this big void that's going to be filled somehow.
Right. But
not filled, right?
Right. But I think what's going to happen is a little bit of a fallacy from the world they set up. To make it interesting, involve all the characters we know and love up to this point, Class 1A has to get involved where they don't inherently have the jurisdiction to get involved quite yet.
Right. They need to be literally the front line and
center. They need to be heroes. They need to be actual heroes before we're going to get anywhere with the void that's being filled in. I honestly don't think... Nice catch.
It's kind of a big deal.
It's kind of a big deal. But yeah, so I think we're in this weird, almost kind of a written into a situation where there's going to be a natural lull in overarching progression of League of Villains. And give me a training arc. How's that? Give me a tournament arc. Fill the time.
It
Do
sounds
something.
Stupid as shit, but I agree. Like,
yeah.
If they're not doing training arcs or fighting people, it kind of feels really boring.
But weren't you the one who said in the movie, like, you liked the first half because of showing that menial? Do you think it's only because it worked in a movie setting? Like, that doesn't work for a long form show like this. You can't have long stretches of menial bullshit.
No, because they were doing stuff. Like, okay, I'll give you an example.
Okay.
In season 4, there's a bunch of scenes where Deku's like shell shocked from the shit that's going on in the internship, right?
Yeah.
And so they're in the gym doing their training, and Bakugo and Todoroki are looking at him, and they're thinking to themselves, wow, the people in the internships are so much better now, right?
Yeah.
They're like, it's just basically out of hand how much they've improved. And then you kind of look at them, and they're not doing anything really all that interesting or different.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
their worldview may have changed slightly, but that's really it.
But what I'm saying is the words and the magnitude of what's supposed to be happening is not meeting what I'm seeing on the screen. And so,
interesting.
Like, to me, it's just like I'm not seeing progression, or I'm not seeing really anything going on. And so when we get this, beginning of the movie where you get to see them actually be heroes.
And actually go take calls, do the things. Okay.
And they were like running the agency by themselves. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just got I felt like there was a lot of payoff to see them like be heroes. Like, this is literally what they're here for.
I think something that I would really like to see is more of that, but in an educational, structural setting, where basically you're going to have hero call training. You guys are basically an agency. Pretend you're an agency. We're going to give you a complex call. You guys make teams of 2 to 4.
I like this.
To go. You have to go. You're not actually going to go do it.
I like this,
You're not going to go do it. Just like,
folks,
what team would you
this.
make? What team would you make? Oh shit, there's a building collapse. We can use Zero and his tape to potentially like hold things up, and we can use anti-gravity. It's like make them think like not just the fighting type, but how do we go and respond to a situation with a squad that we have?
Yeah, U.S. educational system. That's
exactly where I was going with that. You hear that? Get kids on the horn at police stations. You and you two, you know how to work a fire truck.
No, I do agree. I think that was some of the cool stuff in season 1 was when they had to like pair up and go into the building and get stop a bomb or whatever,
that was really
right?
cool.
Like just doing those cool things in the cities, giving them scenarios they had to play out, like in that big city environment where they all had to like steal balls or something. I can't remember, but it was all those different groups.
Oh, they had to steal, or is it the not get hit by the balls, or the one where they had to steal the rocket? They're like
no. They had to shoot 3 balls into different.
That was the provisional license exam.
Yeah, that was sick.
That was cool. And yeah, you didn't necessarily have to get everybody or hit every target, but you had to just earn points in your own way. But yeah, so what we're trying to get back is, it seems like
I'm just craving that, or I'm craving notoriety.
Yes.
If all of a sudden, people are starting to notice Midoriya and the 3 other big boys doing stuff.
Yeah. And
they start to kind of get more purchase to go out and do their own thing a little bit, right? Like, it's just weird.
This is a good segue to have a small conversation about the Gentle Criminal arc that is kind of finishing up right now. And something I'm pissed about that's super along the lines of what you just said about notoriety. But, well, after all of that shit happened with Overhaul, we have the second half of season 4. And this season 4, second half, is all about a criminal called Gentle Criminal and his little lowly sidekick, La Brava. La Brava? La Brava?
La Brava.
La Brava. So, Ethan, what in general is the vibe of Gentle Criminal? What's his shtick? What does he do?
I don't actually know what his vibe is, I'll be honest.
I do. I teed it up for you to hit a homer and you fouled me, my dude.
Well,
he's like
a strike, so
he's
you
like
got another attempt.
He's like a YouTube criminal. Like, he likes to film himself doing menial robberies and shit and kind of just escapes after. And La Brava is like his little lowly sidekick who loves
/ superfan
that loves to film him and is basically in charge of his social media presence. La Brava, if you are like hiring, like we can use you.
If you're hiring,
if you're not hiring, if you're
looking to be hired.
Jesus
Christ.
Hey man, well, but she can work on her legit linguistic skills. Maybe she's good on the social media. She's good on the Facebooks.
She's 12.
We didn't forget to mention that. She's 12, by the way.
Or something like that.
And I just blast y'all's ears with that 12 because I wanted to sink in, right? She is...
It should hurt a little bit.
It should hurt a little bit, just the same way it hurt me when I figured it out in the most recent episode. I didn't realize... I thought she was just lolly. I thought she was just chibi. I'm like, okay, Cool. Whatever. Nope. She is a straight up motherfucking middle schooler that goes to this dude's house and basically says, I'm your biggest fan, and then professes not only her love for him, but he professes it back to her.
I love you, le brother.
And so basically they have a plan. Their biggest scheme yet is to break into UA High during their spring festival, just their festival, school festival.
Yeah, let's just call it school festival.
School festival, I don't know. And basically Aerie, after this whole ordeal, is there to try to learn to smile again. Yes, as depressing as that sounds, because it is quite sad. And basically Mirio and Midori have taken it upon themselves to show her around school, show her that a festival's a play to have fun times, and Gentle Criminal wants to fuck all that up.
Yeah, so basically, like, the idea is UA has said if anyone even attempts to break in or anything like that,
the alarms are sounded.
They're gonna alarm sound, school festival completely off the books.
Shut it down.
Sort of like if, I don't know, if there's this weird disease going around called COVID-19, just like off the top of my head.
What?
And like maybe everyone was quarantined and told not to get into groups of over 10. It'd be kind of like that.
Ethan, you're drawing some terrifying parallels right now. But yeah, so basically everything has to go perfect. Everything has to go smoothly. And class 1A is what is this? What the fuck? Class 1A has to do a song and dance for the whole school because they couldn't decide on doing anything else.
Can I tell you how uninvested I am in this stupid song and dance?
The one thing I did like is we found out that Bakugo can play the drums.
I couldn't give two fucks.
That's pretty fucking rad.
I literally don't care.
And I did like what's her face with the earphone? Jiro. I like that her being like a punk chick actually came in handy.
Her parents are literally famous musicians.
Which I find it weird that she feels like, oh, my skill is not for hero work.
That's what I'm saying.
That's literally your entire power.
Your parents do this.
So they make a song and dance. And then Midori is basically using his All For One as a glorified conveyor belt for Shiny Belly Button Man.
Which is so fucked.
And, yeah. Aoda, or whatever his name is?
Who?
Not the Belly Button dude.
Aoyama,
that's it. And he's like, oh, shit, we frayed the rope.
Spaku!
I'm going to go buy more rope to hang his ass on so he can shine all over the room.
Here's my question: why doesn't he just grab
by his hair and just kind of like,
or like his belt?
That actually really. He's got a cape. You should just grab him by the cape.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell they even need this for.
But he goes out and he runs into Gentle Criminal on a whim, like out of nowhere.
He just literally happened to be watching this guy's video, like accidentally, right?
The day prior. Yeah.
And he realized like there was this golden tip imperial tea.
Yeah.
And I guess they had gotten it at Momo's house, like during a study date or whatever.
She rich AF, so she brought it over to the dorms, and
no, they went to her house for studying stuff in the first season.
Oh no! But she had it in this season. They had
whatever. It's so inconsequential. Right. It's ridiculous.
I know, but
I can't believe you're fighting me on this right now.
Watch an anime. Remember the deets.
I am right.
The sweet deets.
I am right here.
I'm not saying you're not right. I'm saying you are also wrong. At the same fucking time. But he puts two and two together. Deku runs into Gentle Criminal after he gets his tea.
He's basically like, yo, what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah, seriously, what the fuck? And he's like, back off, kid, you don't want to fuck with me right now. And he's like, oh no, I very much want to fuck with you right now. And they
as much as I could possibly want to fuck with you right now.
And they're gonna fuck each other right now. Right? Not fuck each other, but they might fuck each other right now. But the quirk lineup. Gentle Criminal, elasticity, which is actually kind of a rad power. Like, I could see it useful in a lot of ways, and he showed a lot of cool ways to use it. Basically, can make any inorganic material
what I was a
elastic.
Little bit ticked about.
Okay.
Was his quirk is like identical to the air shield thing that Nines uses in the movie.
Just a lot less springy, or a lot more springy.
It's more springy, but it's the same thing.
Right. I wonder if it was swag jacked later.
I mean, definitely not, right? But like, it's just weird.
I mean,
like,
I don't know.
couldn't they think of two separate quirks?
I guess, but you gotta remember that. What if they did tie it in? Like, what if he later, after he confessed, and then you're like, I'm gonna reform my life, and then what? Just gets his, like, oh, we're gonna work in the movie, go see it, haha.
Wait, way after the fact?
Well, it was after, because the movie was set after they got the provisionary license, right?
The movie is not canon.
Oh, and now he's come full circle and accepted it.
I don't want it to be. I'm saying it's garbage.
And okay, La Brava though is not without power. Ethan, what is La Brava's quirk?
She's a master hacker.
Man, that's not her quirk. Her quirk.
But she is.
She's a master hacker. I'm not denying it. She slings code like the best of them at 12. Actually, why didn't she just?
We don't actually know how old she is, to be fair. They showed her in high school. They showed her leave and get depressed. They did not show like a time lapse. But I will give it to you that it was like almost instantly.
Yeah, it felt at most several months.
What I think is she's probably a second year in high school, and she's fallen in love with this gray-haired old man, Gentle Boy. And Gentle Boy likes La Brava. He really likes La Brava.
It doesn't matter how you spin it. Like, it's still creepy even by like lolly standards, dude.
What does La Brava mean? Do you know?
La Brava, I don't know. Do you know?
It's like the love.
The love? Yeah,
it?
So her quirk actually is called love. If she professes her love for somebody once a day, she could basically give her kind of an a one for all style power up, where they're just all their physical attributes are augmented. The deeper the love, the more power she can give, up to tens of times, which means he was already a weak bitch if then he was going toe to toe with 20%, right?
Well, to be
tens
fair,
of times.
20% is ridiculous.
That's true. But it only works for a short amount of time, and it only works once a day. So they would use
we are such assholes. Okay.
They'd use it to escape. What does it mean? Oh wait, how old is she?
Yeah.
How old is she?
So I looked up La Brava. The first search was La Brava age.
Okay. Oh.
So about name La Brava, age 21.
No way.
Birthday, fucking guess.
February 14th.
You are a genius.
There it is.
Valentine's Day.
She's so okay.
She's
then
3'6".
Let's flip the fucking what?
Yeah.
Let's flip the script. She's a cutie. She's an adorable little twerp of a drinking age woman.
I personally don't like her at all.
She still acts like a kid, which is meh, and I think that's
extremely concerning.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And how old is Gentle Criminal?
All right, continue talking shit for a second.
Okay. So, they have actually a battle, Deku and Gentle Criminal is actually not that bad. But then, in a last-ditch effort, when Deku had him on the ground, and that dog hero, Bloodhound, or Hound, whatever his name is, was coming with other teachers from UA, Deku's about to get all that credit for stopping this and having the festival. The whole festival would have been because of Deku's heroic acts, and boom! Breaks the rules of the love quirk, uses it more than once a day, flings him off, they walk up, he turns himself in. And that is super unfortunate because the camera just ran out. This is what we get for going over. There's too much meat in this season to bitch about. But Ethan, what you were talking about before, Deku is denied notoriety once again.
Yeah, that was pretty horseshit.
So, boom, denied. And that's where we're caught up to. So that's spoilers up to episode maybe 22.
It is 22, yes.
Okay.
So I can't really figure out what La Brava means. I think it just means the brave.
Okay.
Perhaps.
Fair.
Let me figure out the dude's age. But what I wanted to talk about in terms of our boy Midoriya.
Okay.
Is, yes, I love the air cannon pistol hand thing that he's working on.
Rad.
I definitely like that, okay?
That's useful.
Don't get me wrong. Creators, I like it. What I'm a little peeved about is I know for a fact he's got multiple other quirks within his one for all.
Yeah, that's been well
Why
established on YouTube.
is nothing else bleeding over? Why am I not seeing any bleed out of like other powers, even on accident, in these like life-threatening situations?
I think it's because as he unlocks more and more of the percentages, the output of One for All, it leaks out after a certain amount. For those of you who haven't read the manga or anything like that, we'll not try to spoil. We'll spoil as much as we can with the anime, but you know, it is known that the previous One for All owners had quirks, and stockpiling power does not necessarily mean just physical strength. It is all of a person's being. So naturally, you know there's going to be quirks that he might have access to. The big question is, why didn't All Might have those quirks accessible? So why didn't they leak out? I don't think he was. I don't know. Maybe even though he's going 100%.
Criminal is 32. I'm just trying to tie up all the bows.
This isn't that weird
he looks
of a
like
relationship.
He's 50.
He looks like he's 50. She looks like she was 12. Okay, let's just milk it at that. It just milked it all for all it's worth. But in all honesty, why didn't they come out in any of these situations? Plot.
My other question would be, why is there no conversation between him and All Might saying, hey, dude, there's these other powers you could probably use?
That one, All Might actually said he is drip feeding him information when it's pertinent. I think it's important so he doesn't overexert himself. He didn't fill him in on the stuff that allowed him to handle these air pistols with his fingers until he had a prerequisite ability to hit 15 or more without hurting himself. And he hit 20. And he didn't. He's like, oh shit, you can hit 20. I'm gonna let you know how I do my shit. You know, when I actually operate at 100%.
Some long range type moves.
Right. So.
Yeah, like I get that. I guess I'm a little annoyed at the slowness with which Midoriya is really, like, he's building his body. It's like taking forever, right? Like, I don't know if it's just me, but
he's still in his first year and he went from nothing to 20%.
Well, I think it's just a fact that this first year seems like it's lasted forever because it's 4 seasons.
Right.
You know, like I feel like instead of a compressed time, it feels like it's been expanded over like 200 years.
Well, naturally.
Naturally,
that's
my dear boy.
Yeah, naturally. That's how it's going to be. And the problem with writing anime centered around schooling is because there is going to be a natural end to any kind of school-based stuff because, you know, graduation feels like the leave, but, you know, if they milked all of, you know, year one from this, then we're in for some great show in the future. But where it stands now, the state of my hero is a little bit of a mixed bag for me. I can see greatness in the future. They've set up a lot of good stuff for me.
I would say definitely a down year, but still promising.
Yes, they have a lot of pieces in place to do some really interesting stuff. I would say a down season. The movie, I liked it better than Two Heroes, actually. Yeah, that's one of my final thoughts. I think season 4 as a whole, I think it gets a... Man, something didn't hit for me, man, on this one. I almost want to give it a little under an 80.
I was going to say 78.
Yeah, we're syncing on that one. I was going to say a little under 80. Maybe, yeah, it's just... the bulk of that came with, like, the one fight in the overhaul section. It's just little moments of brilliance in a sea of what felt like we can do better. Because it's my hero. We know they can do better.
Yeah,
so.
Plus, I mean, like, I know that we're supposed to care mostly about Midoriya, right? But yeah. I don't think that is true when you started off season 1 and you honestly try to care about all the guys, right? Or at least like half of them.
Yeah, right.
And the only real development we got from any of them has been in the movie so far, which doesn't exist.
That's a good point.
So, like, I feel like Bakugo, Todoroki, all these people have gotten no real boost and no real screen time. Like, it's been side characters, as in, like, Uravity got a little bit, Red Riot, and, like, some of those guys involved in the internships.
Yeah.
But, like, we got really no time on board with our main dudes over there.
That's a good point.
I think Ida's cool. I think he's a cool guy. I think Tokiyami is really cool and interesting. Mm-hmm. If we start to see Sero do the shit he did in the movie, we might thinking he might be the top hero.
New boy. It would be fucking awesome to see him actually bust out some sweet new moves. But as for the future, it's looking as bright as it can with such a down year. But
one last bone to pick.
Pick it, dude. Pick it.
So after the Hisaki or Hasakai issue where they go in and they fight Overhaul, like basically all hell breaks loose. Mirio loses his power. Night Eye gets mortally wounded, and Eri goes completely bonkers nuts.
Yeah.
And needs to be stopped by Aizawa.
Yeah.
They go to the hospital.
I know where you're going with this.
And they are basically summoned to go talk to Night Eye, and he says a bunch of shit to both Mirio and to Midoriya, basically saying like, I know you'll be the best hero that's ever lived. And he like fake uses his power, I think, to show Mirio like, hey, you're gonna get better, don't worry about it.
Right.
And he still basically, I don't want to say cucks Midoriya, but he kind of cucks Midoriya.
Kind of right in front of his face.
Right to his freaking
right
gourd.
to his freaking face.
And then he dies. And so...
Yeah. I don't know why. I feel bad for laughing, but yeah.
They have this character, Eri.
Which we have established.
Can reverse bodies back to previous states.
Yeah.
There is nothing here that wouldn't say she could just go in there, revert his body to not being, filled with holes.
But how do you have an emotional scene of sacrifice without him dying?
Right, but it has almost nothing to do with Midoriya. It's all Mirio, and then they also don't give Mirio any real, at least as it sits in episode 22, he's basically been non-existent except for a chaperone.
Essentially. Yeah, I think they're going to get to that.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of a detriment, I think. They're
going to get to that, I think.
Well, they got 2 episodes.
Well, no, I mean, at some point in the story, Mirio is going to get his powers back. For sure.
Yeah.
They have to give it back to him, man.
I don't know. I'm just saying they have Aizawa standing there who can literally shut her off if she goes berserk, and they have her there to reverse things. Give Mirio's powers back now. And revert the hole in Night Eye's stomach. What's so difficult about this?
They don't want to trouble her.
That's my last bone to pick.
That's a fair bone. It's a fair bone to pick. I just think that she's such a variable. All right,
one last bone to pick. Where's Momo?
Where's more Momo, please? Thank you.
I need more Momo.
We all need a little more Momo.
Yaoyorozu.
And her liquid lipids, essentially. So I think that's it. I think we're out of bones to pick. Hey Sam from last episode, if you wanted a longer episode, you got it.
Yeah.
we're here to answer your calls, but yeah, thank you very much for listening. Thank you, YouTube gang. You aren't watching us right now because we just are waving. But you've probably been seeing graphics for the last 20 minutes because I've been in quarantine doing nothing but animating this shit and watching anime. And when should be working, but I'll do some work too. If you want to listen with just your ears and not your eyes, if you can listen with your eyes, call us up. We'll get an interview with you. But if you want to listen, if you want to listen with just your ears, go ahead and check us out on Spotify, Apple, Google, Castbox, Stitcher, or anywhere else you get your podcast fix. If you want a little bit of Instagram loving, go to @weebology.podcast. We got memes on news and the occasional updates about what we are doing. And knowing that we're going to be maybe in quarantine soon. You say you're not going to, but I think you're going to at some point is going to be in quarantine. So you can maybe we'll live stream us watching anime. Who knows?
Hey, if they want to shut my business off, I'm totally down.
Hell yeah, dude.
Papa,
yeah.
Help.
Give the boy some anime. Give the boy some anime time to binge and catch up. If you want to, just drop us a straight email, old school. weebologypodcast I almost said the city we're in. At weebologypodcast@gmail.com. You can write about how bad our linguistics are and how good my points have been this episode, by the way. I think
and
that's
tell
it.
him how much of a complete,
What?
How-
What, Ethan?
how
What?
infrequent that is that he has good points. I
mean,
think he needs to know.
But no, because
Guys, I know
make
you're on
many
my
points.
side here.
No, they
I
know.
know you're on my side. And he's just like,
They don't want to feed the God King any more ego juice.
that's probably actually wise. That is probably wise.
He's at max godliness. I don't know if he could handle any more of a God overload at this point. So, I think that's honestly it. I am Ricky,
And I'm Ethan.
and this has been Weebology. You got learned.
Learned.
Deuces. They can't see this right now.
I keep waving.
Stay safe. Wash your hands, kids.